Hi, so today we're going to be learning about parts of a plant and growing your own plant, and I'm going to show you just how to do this and the steps you can take to make sure that you grow your own pumpkin plant. So the requirement for today is a S1L1, and it's obtain, evaluate, and communicate information about the basic needs of plants and animals. Develop models to identify the parts of a plant, the root, the stem, the leaf, and the flower. So we're going to talk about what do we know about a plant already, what are we going to learn about a plant, and what's evidence that these parts of the plant are true. So what we know about plants is that plants are where we get our food from. So let's pause the video and try to think of 5 plants that we eat every week. Did y'all think of vegetables like corn or broccoli, or some fruit like watermelon or grapes, or even wheat, which is grown and it makes our bread and other products like that, like chips, or potatoes, or anything like this that you thought of is all plants, and they're all grown from the ground, and they start as a seed, and we're going to show you today how those can go from a little tiny seed into a plant, into something you can buy at the grocery store, or you can grow it in your own backyard and then you can eat it. You might be wondering, what is a seed? A seed is a small thing that you can plant, and then a bigger plant will grow from it. Right here, I attached a picture of some pumpkin seeds. This is what type of seeds we'll be using for our experiment. If you want to follow along at home, you can carve a pumpkin, like I'm sure you all do, and you save the seeds, and then follow the steps that I will give you, and you can grow your own pumpkin for the next time you want to carve one. As you will see in a little bit, after we put our pumpkin seeds into the refrigerator for 4 to 5 days, we will check on them, and once they have roots and stems growing out of the seed, we will then plant them into the ground. You might be wondering, what is a root? And a root is something that comes out of the bottom of the plant and helps the plant gather nutrients, which is food and water that it needs to help grow. The roots spread out all throughout the ground, like I'm sure you've seen with trees, that they have the big long roots that spread out. And as you will see in our pumpkin seeds that sprout, they will have little white lines coming out of the bottom, which are the roots, to help them gather nutrients and continue growing. You may be wondering what roots look like. These are the roots of this plant that is drawn. They spread out below ground to gather the nutrients, as explained before. Here's a real-life picture of a tree. These are the tree's roots, which are under the ground, and they spread out to help gather the tree food and water it needs to grow. And finally, here's a picture of another plant with its roots. Next, we are going to learn about the stem of a plant. The stem helps the roots transport the nutrients to the leaves and the top of the plant and all throughout the plant. The roots are just below the stem, and then the stem carries the water and the other nutrients that help the plant grow to the leaves and the top of the plant. Here we're going to look at some examples of stems. Here is a stem of a plant where, as you can see, the bottom of the stem goes into the ground, and then underneath the ground we can't see, but we know the roots are there, which are gathering the nutrients, and then the stem is helping move the nutrients up to the different branches. Even trees have stems, they're just covered by bark. The trunk of a tree is the tree's stem. It helps the roots from underground move the nutrients all the way up to the very top of the tall trees. Next, we're going to talk about the leaves of a plant. Everyone knows what a leaf looks like because we've seen them on trees, and we've seen them all around our neighborhood and our yard, and everywhere we go we see leaves. Even in fall we see the leaves change colors and then fall off the trees. So what do leaves do for plants? That's what we want to know. So what a plant needs to survive is nutrients, which we already talked about. The roots gather the nutrients, and then the stem brings the nutrients to all parts of the plants. They need water, which is one of the nutrients, and they need sunlight to help grow. So the sunlight is captured by the leaves. The leaves gathers the sunlight and turns it into food, which is another form of nutrients for the plant. So when a plant has its big leaves out, it's capturing the sunlight and transforming it into food for the plant to use and help grow. Now we're going to look at some pictures of leaves on different types of plants. There are many different types of leaves. Leaves differ based on the type of plant and where it is growing. In shady areas, leaves need to be bigger so they can collect more sunlight. Here is 3 different types of leaves on 3 different plants, which are all collecting sunlight and transforming it into food for the plant. As you can see, leaves are attached to stems. Like we talked about before, the food that the leaves make for the plant is then transported through the stem to the other parts of the plant. After about 1 or 2 weeks, we will see leaves on our pumpkin seeds that we grew. Flowers are the reproductive part of the plant. Flowers contain seeds. Oftentimes, these seeds are covered with fruit. The fruit helps protect the seed and make sure that nothing gets the seed. The seed also then uses the fruit as nutrients to continue growing. As I said, all fruit comes from flowers. Here is a cycle of a flower turning into a fruit. So here we can see the stem without any flowers on it, and here we can see the flowers budding. Here the flowers are in full bloom. Here they're slowly turning into the fruit, and here is the fruit unripened, and here's the fruit ripened. Here's flowers that we will see on our pumpkin vine. These flowers will then turn into the pumpkin. Now that we have figured out what we know about plants and what we have learned what we didn't know about plants, it's time for some evidence. So we're going to do a demonstration of how to grow a pumpkin plant, and we're going to take it from a seed, grow some roots, a stem, and turn it into all the way to a flower, which will then turn into our pumpkin. So to start growing our pumpkin seeds, we're going to look at all the ingredients and parts that we need. We're going to get 5 pumpkin seeds, 5 or 6, just a handful, some water, a paper towel, a plastic baggie where you can write what you're growing and the date on it so you know when you planted it, and then we're going to put it in the refrigerator. The safety for this experiment is make sure you have adult supervision and permission. First step is we're going to moisten the paper towel. We don't want it to be drenched, so we're just going to stick it in there and then squeeze it out, and do that again on the other side. So stick it in there and squeeze it out. So now it's moist. Now we spread out the moist paper towel, and next we're going to lay our seeds out. So we get our seeds and we line them up like this on one half. And then we're going to fold the paper towel over and lay it out like that. And then you're going to take the moist paper towel with the seeds that you just laid in there and slide it into your baggie that you have already prepared.
Try to lay it flat.
Try to lay it flat. Then seal the baggie and try to get a little bit of the air out. Now we're going to place the baggie in the refrigerator where it won't be messed with, like so. So now that the pumpkin plants have been placed in the wet paper towel inside of the plastic bag, we're going to leave them in the refrigerator for 4 to 5 days until they sprout. And between these 4 or 5 days, you don't want to disrupt them, but make sure the paper towel stays moist. So you may have to add a little bit more water to it, but don't drench it. So after 4 to 5 days, I removed the pumpkin seeds from the fridge, and you can now see that the roots have started to grow out of each seed. The next step is to plant them with some potting soil in a small pot. Here's my pot with some potting soil. I'm going to make 6 little holes for each of the seeds to go into. These are the 4 seeds that I chose to plant in this planter, and this is them before I cover them up with the soil. After making the holes for the 4 pumpkin seeds I chose to go in this pot, I covered them up loosely with dirt, and then I watered them to make sure that the soil is moist, not drenched, but moist. And I'm going to put it out in the sunlight and check on it every day to make sure the soil does not dry out too much, and I will come back with updates. Here's the pumpkins that we planted about a week ago from today, and as you can see, there are leaves popping up and the stems will appear shortly. Now that the pumpkin seeds have sprouted, we will wait about 3 to 4 days after seeing them pop up out of the soil and plant them into the ground out of a pot. This way, their roots can grow and expand larger than the pot and all throughout the soil and the ground. I will come back with weekly updates. This is a pumpkin plant 2 weeks after planting. This is the pumpkin plant 3 weeks after planting it into the ground. If you continue to let your pumpkin grow and don't forget to water it as much as it needs, then a vine like this will grow and a pumpkin will form from where the flower was. I wish we had enough time to document this, but unfortunately we do not, so this is just a picture of what your plant should look like if you follow all these steps and remember what the plant needs and what each part is doing for the plant, such as the roots, which gather the water when you water it, the leaves, which gather the sunlight to help turn energy from the sun into food, and the stem to transport the nutrients throughout the entire plant. At the beginning of this video, I hope you all remember, we talked about know, learn, and evidence. So we realized what we know, we learned what we didn't know about plants, like the parts of the plant and what each of them do and what their job is, and now we have evidence of what the plant looks like. We know the seeds, we know the stem, we've seen the roots, we've seen the leaves, we've seen all parts of the plant, and we've got to hands-on have evidence of what the plant parts do and what they look like in real life. So thank you for watching.